All right. So
Hey,
I
you know
came up.
what I like you that you did is that you went one direction, X is like Y, and then you also took the opportunity to do Y is like X. Um,
Yeah, after I said my first thing, I thought it might be hard to come up with another thing. So I wanted to switch it around to see whether that was going to make my mouth say
yeah,
anything
that,
different.
that makes sense. And I realized when thinking back to my trial at this, that I was always putting my choice was always to put the X and the Y in the same thing, and in some ways that the made it a little more tougher, which maybe raised my creativity muscle a little bit.
Mhm.
In other ways, I missed an opportunity to add more from the other perspective by talking about how a seducer is like a party instead of always talking about how a party is like a seducer. So a reminder that the game could go both ways, and the brain can accommodate either way.
Um, did you gravitate to the similarities or to the differences? Because I went straight to similarities, and I think that reveals a bias that I have about politicians.
I went mine. I'm it's a I would say similarities because that was my thing. A party is like a seducer. It indicates a similarity, but what I realized I was doing was going bigger than the word and putting the party into context and then seeing how I can get the seducer in. So, for example, with the bedroom, with being in the house, where's a party in a house? Well, okay, then I'll just say seducers do their best work in the house. Um, so the similarities, yes, but not exactly.
I kind of struggled with this one as well, but it was another situation where I wanted my mouth to get going to see if something happened. And when I got stuck, kind of, I don't know, this just kind of popped into me, but there's this old movie with Mel Brooks, and it's the history of the world.
Part one.
And somebody came in, he was playing a king, and they said, "Sir, the peasants are revolting." And he goes, "Oh, yes, they stink on ice." It was just a little joke. And I just thought, oh, a bad smell is revolting. And I'm like, yeah, and so are politicians. So, that I got a similarity there, but I had no intention as I began this to say that. It's only after I got through the process that my brain went there.
It's building. It's the creative brain building on one piece at a time. I think that's one of the lessons of improv. Not and the reason not to assume the outcome or the exact goal, but enjoy the process of building the answer.
Okay. What else did you get out of the game, if anything?
It was challenging to come up with similarities of two not only disparate concepts, but one's a person and one's an event. So it's essentially saying, how is a person like an event? And that means I had to go beyond the obvious, and that's what I like there is really the forcing, finding a way to make it work, and I'm pretty pleased with it. I enjoyed it, and
Well,
I
yeah,
enjoyed yours too.
one thing that I got kind of hung up on, you seem to have two things that were a bit disparate. When I got politician and bad smell, my brain already went to, wow, these things are really alike for me. Right. So I thought this is going to be easy. All I have to do is go politician, bad smell. There's the connection, because I don't like politicians and I don't like bad smells. But guess what? It was harder. It's just like, how do I make that? What is it about that I need to examine a bit more? So why I went to Teapot Dome on one of those, I kind of went into history again, and maybe that's my background of research and studying things out. I have no idea whether Teapot Dome actually smelled like sulfur, but it for some
Yeah,
reason I just thought it should.
it did now.
It does
The
now.
what I get from hearing you, the reminder that improv encourages you, innovation thinking in general encourages you to always say, what else? What more? So you come up with the easy answer, but you're saying to yourself, okay, I'll put that aside. How can I push myself a little bit? What's not as obvious? What's more obtuse in the connection? So you're actually forcing yourself to look for connections.
Right. I thought it was a bit bizarre that I went from history, Teapot Dome, to History of the World, the Mel Blanc's movie, excuse me, the Mel Brooks movie. And then from there went to the Revolting, and picking up on a very weird line somewhere 3/4 of the way through the movie. It's you don't know where your brain is going to go necessarily.
You don't know where your brain's going to go exactly. And you start out thinking something easy because there's an obvious connection. And then you realize it's not so easy.
Yeah. You're like, oh yeah, I got this. This is easy. And then your mouth goes, whoopsie daisy.
Or it's easy for one thing. Yeah, politicians smell. Okay, got that. That's how they're like. What else? Well, then you go, and what else? So you don't, I think it was Roger Van Eck in the Creative Whack Pack who goes, the danger of the first right answer. It stops our creative thinking. So
yeah. That's exactly what happened to me. It's like, okay, got it. Whoopsie daisy. Yeah, exactly. That first answer is not always a gift. Sometimes it's the stopper.
Or it sets. We train ourselves to say, if I get a satisfactory answer, I can stop, and that means it's like going to the gym, and you do 10 reps pretty easily, and then you go, okay, I did 10 reps, I stop. It means your muscles will never get stronger because you're not going to 11 or 15 or 30 or